If you'd like more information, log on to thedenverchannel.com. Click on Staying Healthy. 7 News at 5 starts now.
It's 5 o'clock. This is 7 News with Ann Trujillo, Mike Landis, Lionel Bienvenu, and 24/7 weather with Mike Nelson.
New at 5, random drug tests are the rule in major sports. The reason a local high school is considering drug tests for its athletes. Plus,
I'm Mike Nelson. A few showers around right now. Later this week, we might be looking at another big storm.
New at 5, access cards for work. What the son of a South Metro fire employee allegedly did while using his parents' card.
10 minutes of non-stop news starts now.
The 24/7 weather team is on alert for storms this afternoon. Let's take a live picture of I-70. This is at Tower Road near the airport, where you can see a little bit of blue sky out there, also some dark clouds. 7 News Chief Meteorologist Mike Nelson is, of course, tracking the storms for us.
There are some storms popping up, right?
Folks get a little skittish after the weather we've had the last few days, and certainly after the weekend weather with all the tornadoes in the south. Here's the situation. Taking a look at a couple of cameras across the state. There are showers, a mix of rain and snow up around Steamboat. Also seeing some dark skies around Copper Mountain, looking over toward Vail Pass and over Greeley. Now, there are light showers coming in, even a little mixed snow moving from northwest to southeast with an upper air disturbance. The clouds may look a little ominous. There's not a whole lot to them. Pretty light in the way of showers. I don't think we'll get anything that'll amount to more than a brief sprinkle of rain or a flurry up in mountains, but there are plenty of advisories in effect for tonight. We have frost advisories for most of the southeast. Out to the west ahead of the next storm system, wind advisories are already being issued for western Colorado as a major change in the weather comes later on this week. Big story for tonight after the showers go away will be the temperatures dropping at or below freezing. So once again, it'll be a night to cover up all of those spring plants if you've already put them out. Big warm up and then a big cold patch coming in. I'll talk about it all in 10 minutes.
Now, the snow from this weekend is being blamed for minor flooding today. The high water has closed parts of 2 trails in Castle Rock. The trail closures are expected to last until tomorrow or Wednesday. And there are new developments in the case of a teenager accused of killing his 13-year-old girlfriend.
At this hour, Alex Pacheco is pleading guilty to murder. Here's 7 News reporter Lance Hernandez with how this plea deal will settle 4 different cases.
Mike, Alex Pacheco had been facing charges of first-degree murder, abuse of a corpse, and child abuse resulting in death, all in relation to the death of Kelsey Shannon. Those charges were dropped in exchange for the guilty plea to the second-degree murder charge, which was just added today. He also pled guilty in a separate case to retaliation against a witness. And at his sentencing hearing, the victim's mom and dad got on the stand and asked for justice.
We are brokenhearted, we have broken dreams and broken lives. But we are strong because we were so blessed to have this girl, not only in our hearts, but in our everyday and our every moment.
Kelsey's mom says her daughter arrived as a newborn 15 years ago this month, and that she was a bright light in their lives.
Some have tried to paint a picture of a wild girl who was allowed to date an 18-year-old. The truth is that he came into our lives for 2 months in the summer of 2008, wearing a hoodie, riding a bicycle, and looking like the 14-year-old he claimed to be.
The vicious, nonsensical act that took her life is despicable, and I want a punishment that fits the crime that Alex Pacheco committed. There is no punishment that will bring her back, so no matter what happened to Alex, we, her family and friends, will never feel satisfied.
Alex Pacheco pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. Investigators say he bragged about strangling his victim and stabbing her, then disposing of the body in a creek bed near her home. Now, today's sentencing hearing is a mere formality. Under the terms of the plea agreement, Alex Pacheco will be sentenced to 48 years in the state penitentiary, and he will then get 5 years of mandatory parole. Now, Pacheco's parents also spoke at that hearing this afternoon. His mom actually commended her son for owning up to what he did, although you get the sense that she would rather have that this case had gone to trial. Live in Broomfield, Lance Hernandez, 7 News.
Thank you, Lance. Kelsey Shannon was not only Pacheco's girlfriend at one point, she was also a witness in a case against him. According to court records, Pacheco was charged with theft and a stolen bicycle case, and Shannon was a prosecution witness.
A man involved in a bar fight early this morning has died. Denver police were called to the City Pub Sports Bar on Yosemite just before closing time this morning. One of the men involved in the fight collapsed, and he died later at a hospital. Police are waiting for autopsy results to figure out if the man was hurt in the fight or died of natural causes.
The son of a South Metro fire employee is accused of using his parents' access card to steal narcotics Brian Nafis Jr. is accused of stealing morphine, Valium, and fentanyl. South Metro Fire says that Nafis used his parents' access card to access South Metro's administration building while his parents were out of state. Nafis is facing charges of burglary, theft, and criminal mischief. Would you want your child tested for drugs so he or she could play sports or take part in other school activities? The school district in Windsor is considering this idea. 7 News reporter Tyler Lopez with the two different tests that students would have to pass.
In order to be on the baseball team, you'd be subject to random drug and alcohol tests. If caught using, you'd be suspended briefly from the team and placed into counseling. But the results would not go on your school record.
We just want to try to do whatever we can, be proactive, do prevention and intervention measures that we can try to make a difference in the lives of kids.
Suspicion-based positive tests for drugs or alcohol would have academic consequences: a 5-day suspension, expulsion on a second offense.
If there was evidence, behavioral evidence that would suggest that, whether they smell like alcohol or smell like marijuana.
It's an idea that is slowly gaining traction in parts of Colorado. Battle Mountain High in the Eagle Vale area went to random testing of extracurricular students 2 years ago.
You'd say go even further.
Yeah, I mean, there's kids that are ruining our education because they're high during class. I'd be okay with it. I mean, I don't drink, I don't do any drugs. I think they should really drug test everyone.
But there are privacy concerns and studies that show random testing doesn't reduce drug use at school.
You shouldn't have to have the school test them for it. You should know. You should be the first line of defense, and you should be the first.
All things school district officials want to hear when they hold their meeting for parents tomorrow night at 7 o'clock in the cafeteria. Those folks are not likely to hear much, though, from the State Department of Education. We checked, and a spokeswoman says they don't keep a list of the schools that drug test their students, in part because they're not required to by federal or state law. Live in Windsor, Tyler Lopez, 7 News.
And if the Windsor School Board moves forward with drug testing, district money would not be used to pay for the program. Instead, the district would look for government grants and private funds.
It's the kind of rescue that you rarely see, and it happened this morning as we carried it live on 7 News at 11. A man had to be hoisted out of a manhole. Fire crews used ropes and pulleys to get the man out at 8th and Logan this morning, right down from the governor's mansion. The man was working on fiber optic lines right next to the mansion. He fell 12 feet off an underground ladder.
About 28 firefighters on scene almost immediately. It's relatively close to the fire stations. We're able to set up a tripod, as you saw the extrication tool, to be able to lift and hoist the gentleman out of the hole.
They worked fast. It took firefighters just 14 minutes from the time they got the call to get the man to an ambulance. He was alert, but firefighters tell us that he had significant injuries.
An 8-year-old boy did an amazing thing this weekend. Dylan Earl was with his grandmother when she had a seizure on I-70 in Grand Junction. Well, Dylan grabbed the wheel of the pickup and held on while the pickup came to a stop. Listen to part of the 911 call from a Good Samaritan.
There's a lady in a red Ford that it's like she's having a seizure going down the interstate.
Well, a few minutes later, the grandmother woke up, and that is when a Good Samaritan told her they needed to move her truck.
Can you slide over? We got to get you out of the middle of the interstate, ma'am. Can you just slide over? You're okay. You're okay.
Authorities say Lisa DeKruger was driving 75 miles per hour when she had that seizure. The 8-year-old's father says he started teaching his kids responsible driving early, allowing them to steer just a little while he was driving. Family members say Grandma's doing just fine.
Glad to hear that. United Airlines has run into a roadblock in its merger talks with Continental Airlines. The New York Times is saying the two sides disagree over the price of each other's stock. Despite that, the Times says the companies are still negotiating. United and Continental explored a merger a couple of years ago without any success.
If you're one of the thousands of people who goes to the Greeley Stampede, you're going to pay an admission fee this year. There's always been a fee for rodeo events like this and many concerts. Well, now there will be a $5 admission fee for adults and $2 for kids and seniors. The 88th annual Greeley Stampede starts June 25th.
Despite the closure of the Rocky Mountain News 1 year ago, the Denver Post is still losing sales. The Denver Business Journal is saying that weekday sales of the Post are averaging about 333,000 copies, 333. That's down 10% from this time a year ago. The Denver Post is selling nearly 500,000 copies of the Sunday paper each week, and that's down 7.5%.
Right now, Denver water crews are trying to fix a water main break on a stretch of West Colfax. An 8-inch water main broke around lunchtime on Colfax near Tennyson, and it cut off water to 11 homes and 3 businesses. So you can expect lane closures through the evening. Denver Water is hoping that repairs will be finished around 8 o'clock tonight.
New at 5, a warning in Thornton to be on high alert for coyotes. The city says the animals have been aggressive on 2 occasions near the Lee Lateral Trail. In the past few years, the coyotes have been spotted in the East Lake Nature Preserve, and we checked and found the Division of Wildlife had to kill 1 coyote last year. This past weekend, wildlife and city officials posted signs warning of the coyote problems along the trail.
Seen them right across the street, seen them in the yard. I've seen them come from, back that way, back to where their dens are. I've never really had any problems with them, but I've seen them several times.
A Thornton City official tells 7 News that if a coyote is spotted again along the Lee Lateral Trail, it's going to be destroyed. She said that the area is really too populated and there are too many children nearby to take any chances. If you see a coyote, wildlife officials say start yelling and waving your arms, and do not turn your back on the coyote.
And we continue 10 minutes of nonstop news with a Denver school asking for your vote. They want President Obama to give their commencement address. The Denver School of Science and Technology is one of 6 finalists for the speech. The students submitted an essay and video to help win the contest, and we asked what set them apart.
I think there's several things. We have a very, very diverse student body. We represent virtually our entire country, and we have been so successful for 3 years in a row now. 100% of our seniors have been accepted into 4-year colleges.
To vote for the school, log on to thedenverchannel.com, click on the big red TV button where we have provided a link so you can vote. The president will select the winner from the top 3 vote getters next Tuesday.
What a deal that was, isn't it? Yeah. Pedal Power is taking on a new meeting at a college in Colorado.
Up next on 7 News at 5, how working out is creating a new source of energy.
Plus, it sounds like a good deal. $10 to buy a waterfall in Colorado. Why the waterfall's cleanup is going to cost a whole lot more than that.
And she's overcome the stigma of sexual abuse as a child. How she's now channeling her newfound happiness into hope for others.
We have some terrific weather for a little while, and then a big change coming up later in the week. Quite the roller coaster ride.
She was in search of a new life.
Oh, hello there.
However, this small town has big secrets.
It might be in my head.
Welcome to ABC's Happy Town. Don't let them fool you. Series premiere Wednesday, 10/9 Central on ABC.
Live from Denver 7, this is 7 News.
The stigma of child abuse can often stop victims and families from reaching out for help. For those who do, it can be life-changing. Tonight, a young woman who says therapy not only saved her life, it set her free. 18-year-old Jacqueline Maldonado is a thriving college student who's now free from a terrible secret that she says took away her childhood.
I was abused sexually since I was 12 by my stepfather, and it went on for 5 years.
In Jacqueline's case, it wasn't threats or intimidation that caused her to hide the sexual abuse, rather the opposite.
I guess for me, I needed love, and since that was a way I could get love from him, I wouldn't have wanted that to go away because no one else would have loved me, I felt.
She eventually told a family member, which led to her stepfather's conviction and sentence of 30 years behind bars.
It was kind of a relief. It was like I was hiding for so long, embarrassed of what was happening.
The community has to be vigilant, has to pay attention to it. Child abuse and neglect can happen anywhere to anybody.
A turning point in Jacqueline's recovery was going to the Kemp Center for Counseling, where she realized the abuse was not her fault.
There can be some really great outcomes and some success stories. So if kids and families get access to the right at the right time, there can be some very positive outcomes.
For Jacqueline, that means channeling her experience into a future career as a therapist and victims advocate.
I mean, yeah, I go back and bad things go in my head about what happened, but, you know, I always try to look at the happiness in life. I mean, you only live once, right?
April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and we have linked information about prevention and treatment on our website, thedenverchannel.com. Just click on the red TV button.
El Paso County has purchased a waterfall for $10. It's Rainbow Falls in Manitou Springs. The waterfall used to be quite a tourist draw, but now the area is covered in graffiti. They do drug deals there. The county bought the waterfall from Mansfield Development Company that owns the nearby land. El Paso County plans to clean up and restore that area under Highway 24.
And a local school is getting a big honor. Today, Legacy High School in Broomfield learned its band has been invited to the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
And it is with great pride and great pleasure that I announce Legacy High School has been invited to the 2011 Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Congratulations. Legacy High will be one of 10 marching bands in that parade.
Good for them. Here's a great way to go green while you work out. Mesa State College in Grand Junction has installed 8 special elliptical machines, and while the students work out on them, they actually create electricity. A 30-minute workout creates enough power for a laptop computer to run for 1 hour. The college is hoping to turn its stationary bikes and stair climbers and some other machines into power generators by the end of the year.
Just think how many ellipticals we'd need for our newsroom.
Yes.
Not to mention the weather center.
We have other ideas for the weather center, which we will keep you in suspense about until later out there in TV land.
Once we improve the weather?
Yep. You know what? I went skiing today. Hadn't done that in a while. It was a powder day. Now, this is not a picture of me, but Dustin Schaefer up at Loveland caught some other folks out enjoying it. It was about braking at my knees, untracked. It was amazing. Bright blue day. And they had so much snow over the weekend. Loveland, A-Basin are still in good shape. Loveland is open until Sunday. A-Basin continues on a little bit from there. And folks, if you're still desiring a little late season skiing, man, it is still pretty darn good. Right now, partly cloudy skies along the Front Range. A few showers are in the area, but not very many. Numbers today, 52 and 32. 64 and 37 are where we ought to be. And the records are 84 and 18. Right now, the current temperature at 52 downtown and at the airport. Winds are light from the north at 38% relative humidity. Here's what it looks like on radar. Last night's storm moving out. Sunshine giving way to a few scattered light showers this afternoon as a minor little upper air disturbance moves across the area. Won't amount to much. The storm we had yesterday moving out to the east of us, the storm that caused all the severe weather over the weekend, is now continuing to push out to sea, and the next one is just coming in on the west coast. So in advance of that, tomorrow we'll have a mild, breezy day with temperatures warming up into the 60s and 70s at lower elevations, 50s and 60s in the mountains. Wednesday, windy and warmer, with strong southwest winds, and then this front comes through with much cooler weather for Thursday and Friday, and back to the unsettled weather with rain and snow showers expected. Here's the way it shapes up for tonight across the state. Couple of real small little showers early. Then the skies clear, the winds are light, and that means cold temperatures. The overnight lows 20s and 30s at lower elevations, except for the 43 out in the Grand Valley. 15 tonight at Leadville. Tomorrow, beautiful day, mostly sunny, but you'll notice those winds begin to increase out to the west ahead of that next storm. 60s and 70s at most locations, a 48 high at Leadville, but 65 down the road at Salida. And then looking ahead, tomorrow night and continued on into Wednesday morning. Look at these wind vectors increasing. That's when the high wind warnings go in effect across the west. They'll be from the southwest, so a big warming trend, but you'll notice even by Wednesday morning, there's some rain and snow developing out in the Wasatch as this next front begins to head toward Colorado. A few very light showers early tonight, otherwise clearing, cold, calm, and 30. Tomorrow, the high temperature 67, breezy and warmer, winds coming in from the south. Looking ahead, 75 windy degrees on Wednesday, 47 windy degrees on Thursday as a wind shift from southwest to north with a rain-snow mix, although I don't think it's going to be all that heavy. And then just unsettled for Friday, for Saturday, for Sunday, a little drier, Monday. So the April showers give way to May showers, I am afraid, as this next storm system comes in. Tomorrow night, I will be doing the weather live from the Wildlife Experience in Parker. That is at Peoria and Lincoln for our spring weather seminar. We have all the details on the denverchannel.com, but just to give you a peek, Nolan Duskin, our state climatologist, is speaking. Matt Kelch, who is an expert on flash floods, has some really dramatic video to share with you. Kristen Avert is a drought expert, and she will talk about perhaps the next big one for Colorado. And Dr. Roger Pelkey Jr., Dr. Roger Pelkey Jr. will talk about climate change, political or physical science.
Ooh, that sounds like a good one.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. All right, coming up, the Nuggets are struggling to find their way in the playoffs without head coach George Karl.
And the Broncos made lots of moves today, including bringing a buff to Dove Valley. Lionel has those stories next in sports.
When you hear this sound, make this sound.
Hello, Frank Azar?
I'm attorney Frank Azar. If you've been hurt in a car wreck, call me.
Bullwhackers has a new place to play. It's the Big Deal Video Poker Room, Colorado's Royal Flush capital. Serious poker for serious players. Only from Bullwhackers Casinos. No bull.
This summer, the biggest names in sleep are waiting for you.
It's Mattress King's Battle of the Brands.
Hurry in now for huge savings as Sealy, Serta, and Simmons battle for your business. Perfect Sleeper, Beauty Rest, and Posturepedic models from $4.99. And experience the newest Tempur-Pedic, the Cloud Supreme.
Nobody's bigger, nobody's better, and nobody beats the king. Nobody.
When the brands battle, you win only at Mattress King.
Lionel is here. They were busy at Dove Valley today, a feeding frenzy.
Yes, it's the post-draft free agent feeding frenzy.
Okay.
All that going on. Yeah, the Broncos signed 20 players today. The big fish, Aiken Adell from the Dolphins, a 9-year veteran, started 15 games last season, third in tackles. Watch him. He's a player. Also signed today, Ryer Gear from CU, started 37 games at tight end for the Buffs, caught nearly 1,000 yards worth of pigskin, 11 touchdowns. Hey, with Tony Scheffler gone, there's opportunity for Gear. The Broncos did not sign Richard Gear. All right, Nuggets from a championship contender to the brink of a first-round playoff bust. Why? George Karl. While their head coach is at home recovering from cancer treatments, they've gone 12-11 under Adrian Dantley. Just average. No intensity, no defense, no togetherness. Chauncey admitted today this is a huge factor in the fall.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and that's with all due respect and no slight to AD, because I think AD's done a great job trying to maintain and handle the guys that we have on this team. But yeah, definitely, and I think that you will see that from any team that lost their head coach for the second half of the season and through playoffs. I think it'll be a major effect anyway.
Well, the Nuggets' big men have gone small. The bigs. Birdman, not the same. Nene? Where's the beef, Nene? It's so bad inside that a dude named Fasenko is out playing the Nuggets bigs. Fasenko, the man, the myth, the legend. The backup from the Ukraine. Melo cannot believe this.
You know, Boozer down there, pushing out big men away. Fasenko. I mean, and don't get me wrong, he's playing extremely well. You know, he's playing with a lot of confidence, but Fasenko.
Fasenko. Hey, the Rockies honoring Dante Bichette tonight. On this day, 15 years ago, Bichette had the first home run in Coors Field regular season history. A 14th-inning walk-off jack against the Mets, and that was before the term walk-off was invented. And Dante will throw out the first pitch tonight before the Rockies play the D-backs. So we'll have that tonight at 10.
Now she gets to say, Dante.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, thanks.
Very nice. All right. Well, here's what we are working on for 7 News at 10. How preparations against future terror attacks have uncovered clues in fighting cancer. Plus, the 4 bad habits that can age you by 12 years. These stories tonight on 7 News.
Did you give us a preview? No.
No.
We'll see you back here tonight at 10 o'clock.
See you then.
On air, online, on your phone, in Spanish, always on. Denver's 7. Time well spent.